I couldn't believe my eyes. I could not believe the fact that Arsenal defeated Chelsea by 5 goals to nothing. It was such an embarrassing performance by Chelsea. Pochettino in the first half, the disjointed attacks, no rhythm in the game altogether. The players were always 3 to 4 yards away from Arsenal. They were always away. They were afraid of going toe to toe. They were afraid of pressing them down. I heard Chelsea fans saying that we are pressing them well, but there's no output altogether. I don't even think that they were trying to press onto them. Enzo and Caicedo getting baited in that press instilled by Odegaard and Havertz on a time to time basis. Saka, even though he couldn't come on top against the likes of Cucurella in those 1v1 situations, he was involved in 3 goals. He was involved in starting the sequence to those goals. He was the one who was involved in creating ample chances. No matter how much flock people want to give to Saka, I still think that Saka is such an integral part of this Arsenal. He has done really and substantially well in this role. If you're expected to play and give an 8 or a 9 out of 10 in each and every performance, you can't do it unless you're given those minutes off. And that's one thing which Saka hasn't really had the liberty of. He's been playing each and every minute for Arsenal. This guy never gets injured. He always gives a 10 out of 10 when it comes to expending that energy, putting in a good shift across the pitch. So people better stop talking about Saka in the wrong manner, right? Before we get into the tactical breakdown of the game, please do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps with the show. Arsenal in possession were enjoying and flying around, knocking the ball around in quick succession. The mobility across channels, the distribution, right, and the movement across different pockets was pivotal to Arsenal's building up of the chances. Now, if you talk about Thomas Partey, he just brought another flair to the game. This man, the number 5 for Arsenal, has a tendency to play vertical passes, but Arteta carefully asked him to be that defensive mid, that center midfielder presence who would actually navigate the pitch, acting as a shadow on Gallagher, on Mudryk. He had so many interceptions, not only in the first half, but in those first 5 to 7 minutes. He is that man who helped Arsenal in retaining that possession. He gave Arsenal hope in continuing that attacking rhythm throughout the game. Partey, Declan Rice, given that freedom because of Thomas Partey, if it was a Jorginho or someone else playing next to Declan Rice, I don't think Declan Rice would have had the same impact in the game. This is the setup which was there for the goal. And Saka was in a position which took out Gallagher. Cucurella passed the ball to Partey, who carried the ball ahead, found Declan Rice in the right space. There was no Maduiki. There was no Enzo who could make a recovery run to protect this left channel of Chelsea. Rice surged into the box with the ball, passed it down to Trossard, who brilliantly, with all the conviction, targeted the near post of Petrovic, and the goalkeeper should have saved that. He could not really close down that narrow option which was presented to Trossard. Out of all these attacking options, Kai Havertz played such a crucial role. Kai Havertz, again, I hope Arteta doesn't really go with another option of starting him as a center midfielder or as a number 8. I know he can be given that free role of bombarding inside the box, but the guy has no talent of creating a defensive cover. He is the number 9 that Arsenal need. He is that guy who can provide you that hold up. He is that guy who can keep defenders like Disasi and Badeshil on their toes all the time. Chelsea was so unnerving. Chelsea was so unsettled throughout the game. Enzo on the ball looked like he's taking 5, 6 touches, kept on pushing the ball ahead slightly, kept on pushing it ahead. He was so afraid of delivering the ball ahead, even though he found he was successful in finding the men ahead. But it took so much time for Chelsea to create those build ups. It was just really unsettling for a Chelsea fan present in the stadium the way they were playing that game out there, right? For Enzo, he struggled throughout the game. For Caicedo, man, Caicedo always seems like a passenger. These two midfields they're not up to it. They're not up to playing for Chelsea at all. I can give you that much. Thomas Partey, Declan Rice in this situation was bossing this midfield. He kept them unsettled throughout. Odegaard, man, on those half turns, right? Odegaard would draw the likes of Cucurella, Badiashile, kept them busy throughout the game, created chances for Havertz, would create such an impeccable opportunity even for Saka in the situation where Sassi was keeping him on side, and Saka literally had to come back because Badiashile, again, I think Badiashile had a decent venture out there. He was really up with his interceptions. He was protecting Petrovic, the goal line. I think Badiashile had a decent game, but again, the goals that were conceded, they were conceded in the most horrible fashion. And we need to attribute this success to Ben White. Ben White is one of the most underrated primal right backs for Arsenal, right? It's not really about how Arsenal was scoring those goals. I think Arsenal really had that confidence in going ahead, right? If you actually see Thomas Partey and Declan Rice were not afraid of pressing up high on these midfielders, which is why they didn't really get that time. Chelsea was struggling to find any man ahead. It was Madueke who had to be targeted by Enzo on so many occasions. Madueke would be in this position, Enzo would passing the ball long hair. That's how he really beat Tomiyasu in these situations too. Sometimes Trossard would be there for Madueke to play the ball to the back. But in situations where Trossard wasn't present, Madueke would literally get in behind Tomiyasu in the situation and he would deliver the ball inside. Sometimes the ball would be given to Raya. Sometimes the ball would be played overhit too much for and there was no one, no midfielder, no extra midfielder who would be bombing the box at that point in time, barring Jackson or Gallagher or Jackson and Mudryk. There were just two players in the box, and Gabriel and Saliba would be present here to take care of this situation. One of the best performances from the defenders included, barring 1-2 opportunities which Chelsea had in the first half. Again, I can't believe that they had an XG of 1.67. The trajectory on which Pochettino was operating his squad, it never looked like Chelsea would get the better of Arsenal. The only hope for fans was that Chelsea might score one goal, they might draw the game, they might be able to hold Arsenal off. But that never really happened. That never really happened. In fact, Chelsea were very much in the game till the half time. Chelsea had more of the possession. In fact, it was Arteta, it was his game plan to make Arsenal hold the shape really well against the likes of Chelsea, for Chelsea to operate in a manner where they are limited to using only Madueke. 45% of their attacks were constructed through Madueke on the right. And Madueke, he doesn't really have a good end product. He needs to work on that. And in situations where he was delivering the ball, the key passes inside to Jackson, that one header. I'm sure Chelsea fans must be we wish that there was a plate of steel on Jackson's forehead. I mean, it was such a poor performance. Enzo Caicedo, bang average, losing the ball, abysmal, below average performance by Chelsea. Gilchrist, man, this one player, he is such a raw defender. I mean, he wasn't even able to support Madueke ahead when Chelsea were on the ball. On occasions, he would be here. He would just see Chelsea had no supreme creator. That's where I actually judge the quality of the squad. When you're playing a midfield of Gallagher, Enzo, and Caicedo, you expect Enzo to deliver those long passes, to find those vertical passes, but he is not of that caliber that you'll be playing him against the likes of Arsenal and he'll come on top. No. Thomas Partey, he's got some caliber, he's got some quality on the ball. Declan Rice, he's got that positional presence, that spatial awareness to operate himself in those spaces. This, I don't know. I mean, how could Pochettino even think that this squad could compete against the likes of Arsenal? A complete and utter domination. Havertz being that primal number 9. Saka again not coming on top in that 1v1 situation, but still, we need to attribute for what happened on the pitch. Saka was heavily involved in everything. Odegaard, man, one of the best vintage Odegaard performances that I've ever seen from him. I never thought Odegaard can step his game up to this level, especially with that one goal that he scored when Chelsea's line of midfield were right here and Havertz was situated here. He literally, literally gave a KDB esque pass from this position to here. Havertz took the ball, he held Cucurella off. He displaced him. He literally fell to the ground. Desasi was right beside him. There was no one else there, and he scored that goal. Such a brilliant goal. Brilliant display of hold up. Havertz, again, ensuring that he has that number 9 position for the rest of the season at least. I don't even know why Arsenal wanted number 9 when he's working really well in that facet, right? So there were many positives to this game for Arsenal, and there were plenty of negatives to Chelsea's game in this very fixture.